Resignation. We are now joined in our studios in Johannesburg by Dr. Mazwe Majola from Worldwide Institute of Leadership and Development. Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for coming through.
Good day.
I think the last time when we had you in studio last week, we focused on Pravin Gordhan, his leaked submission to the inquiry, to the state capture inquiry.
Yes.
Let's just talk about Malusi Gigaba, because that was already in the news, but we never touched on it.
Yeah.
Were you expecting this to happen?
I was expecting it. But I knew that it would take a lot of persuasion and convincing because he was very defiant. He was very adamant that he would not resign. He was not like Nene. After he realized that he made a mistake, he just resigned. He didn't make it a big issue, trying to justify himself. But we know that Gigaba has been so vociferous, trying to defend himself, trying to justify. He even said that he was not going to resign. So you can see that...
But it eventually happened.
Yeah.
What might have happened? Because we understand there was a meeting between himself and the president on Sunday before this happened. And the last time you and I spoke, you raised your concerns, saying that the president should be consistent with what happened to Ndlandla and it should happen to other ministers. So are you happy with what happened?
I'm very happy with his leadership style. You can see that he's not a person who will try to come up publicly and try to amuse the public, but he does these things behind the scene, and he knows he does these things in his own pace. He's consistent. He has tried to persuade Gigaba behind the scene to resign, to put the organization and the country first before his own interest, and he has achieved that. We are told that even on that day, Gigaba was pulling to and fro, saying that he's not going to resign, but eventually he did resign. So you can see the pressure that the president put on him.
Yeah, but do you believe that he did the right thing by resigning? I mean, he even made it very clear that his resignation does not mean it's an admission of guilt to what has happened.
Yeah.
So the ANC, on the other hand, applauding him for resigning, instead of actually, speaking against him lying under oath.
Yes. He didn't resign honorably. He resigned under duress. Because as we are saying that in his statement, he says, my resignation is not the admission of guilt. So it means that he's a man who's not apologizing. He doesn't see anything wrong with him. So he's just doing it because we can see that he was pushed to do it. If it was up to him, he would still be there. So you can.
But do you think that he's been pushed to resign as a member of parliament as he did today?
Both. He was pushed by his own, by his own ambition, because he calculated, and you realize that obviously becoming a mere member of parliament in terms of benefits and in terms of retirements, pensions, it won't be the same with being the member of executive. So he calculated that and he said, no, I'd rather resign as a member of parliament.
But also because there's that pending matter that's before the committee. He was supposed to appear before that committee. So do you think it's got anything to do with that as well? Well,
no, it was more on his self-interest, really. I mean, he looked at it and said, okay, now I'm not an executive member, so in terms of my retirement or my pension package is going to be affected hugely, therefore I'll rather resign so that I can. So it was more a self-interest rather than the country or the other people's interest.
But do you think we are in for more surprises? Minister Gordhan will appear before the state capture inquiry next week, Monday.
You can see that Cyril Ramaphosa is doing his own thing behind the scene. As I'm saying that he's really, he does have that leadership style of persuasion, of negotiating. So he's the kind of a person who will negotiate and persuade. I know that he might be seen and perceived as a person who takes time in making decisions, but eventually you can see that because as he does make those decisions, he doesn't want to offend many people, because he still wants to move with his project of unity, cohesion, and renewal within the organization. So he doesn't want to mess up with that, but at the same time, he wants to bring the whole country into his confidence.
All right, so now Malusi Gigaba is gone. Who's next?
We'll see next week what happens to Pravin Gordhan. We'll see what happens to Batabile Dlamini. There's a huge pressure. Huge pressure there. The only different with that is because Batabile has got a huge
numbers in terms of the branches. That's what many people are saying, that one will never go because of
she
the numbers
is the
that
president of the
She's the president
ANC
of the Women's League.
You saw the president of the ANC has got a huge challenge there, because obviously he needs to convince her, but at the same time he needs her given that the elections are just around the corner.
All right. 2 ministerial positions are vacant as it is. Does it mean we're likely to see the president reshuffling his cabinet soon?
He shouldn't do that. The two things. One, the elections are just around the corner, so he can just maneuver with whoever he has.
But is this not the right chance for him to reshuffle and get rid of those that many people are saying that they should leave?
That's why I'm saying, one, the elections are just around the corner. Two, there's been this huge debate about trimming down the cabinet. So that will be another way of handling it. Just to maintain it as people are going, maintain it, get other people, just to pull different departments so that one person can look after a few different, until the election. Remember that Ramaphosa really, after the election, is when he will put the cabinet that he wants.
Okay. All right. I suppose we wait and see what happens from next week. Thank you so much for coming through, Dr. Majola.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Dr. Mazwe Majola is from the World Institute of Leadership and Development, talking to us about Gigaba's resignation as a member of Parliament.